Okay, so we are back to our managerial economics tutorial section. So we are still continuing with the tutorial question. So there is question 6. We were given a demand function as QD is equal to 50 minus 2 PJ plus 0.1 M plus 2 PA. We were also given a supply function as QS is equal to minus 300 plus 8 PJ. So with the I part of the question, interpret the coefficient of what? Independent variables. So now, when we come to this demand equation, the independent variables are PJ, M, and PA. So the coefficients of the independent variables are the numbers that are attached to them. So for instance, the first one is PJ. So the coefficient is minus 2. So that's how we interpret it. A unit increase in PJ will lead to, since it's negative, we use decrease. If it's positive, we use increase. Will lead to a decrease in quantity demanded of gasoline by 2. You bring the 2 down, then you add unit. All things being equal. Okay, so that's the first one. So move the next one, M. You have M. MS. The coefficient is 0.1. So a unit increase in M will lead to, since it's positive, we use increase, to an increase in quantity demanded of gasoline. By, then you bring the number 0.1, you add unit. Being equal. Then the last variable is PA. The coefficient is 2. So a unit increase in PA will lead to, it's positive, so an increase quantity demanded of gasoline by 2 units, all things being equal. So that's what we are actually asked to solve based on the I part of the question. Interpretation of coefficient of independent variables. So we've interpreted for PJ, capital M, and that of PA. So you move to the next part of the question. So the next part of the question is saying that let's state the law of supply and let's show whether the supply function follows the law of supply. So thus the supply function. We're given QS minus 300 plus 8 PJ. So you've been asked to show whether the supply function follows the law of supply. So that's what we do. With supply, there's a positive relationship between quantity supplied of gasoline and that same price of what? Gasoline. So when we look at the symbol in the middle here, it's positive. So meaning that with the supply function, it follows the law of demand, or it confirms the law of, with this supply function, it confirms the law of supply because there's a positive relationship between price of gasoline and quantity supplied of what? Gassem. One would ask, what if it was negative? If it's negative, we are going to reject the law of supply, because with supply there's a positive relationship, but with demand there's an inverse relationship. So the law of, let me do it this way. The supply equation confirms the law of supply because there is a positive relationship between quantity supply of good X, which is gassem, and price of gassem, all things being equal. So this was all for the second part of the question. We were asked to confirm whether the supply function follows the law of supply. So there's the answer. The supply equation confirms the law of supply because there's a positive relationship between quantity supplied of gassem and price of what? Gassem. So we'll move to the next question. That was the third one. We were asked to form a new demand function or a new demand equation. So this was the demand equation given to us, this particular one. So we have QD is equal to, we have 50 minus 2 pj plus 0.1 m plus 2 p. Now, for us to find for the new demand function, we'll be given the numbers for the various variables here. So per the question, we were given M as 4,000, and we're also given P as 75. So you substitute them into the equation. So we have QD. This is 50. This is 2. We were not giving pigeon, so we repeat the pigeon back. Plus there is 0.1. M, income. Income was given as 4,000. We have 2. PA was given as 75. So this is QD. This is 50 minus 2 pigeon. 0.1 times 4,000 would give us 400. 2 times 75 would give us 150. So we have QD. So 50 plus 400 plus 150 would give us 600 minus 2 pj. So this becomes the new demand function. So that was the third part of the question. So with the fourth part of the question, we were also asked whether the new demand equation satisfies the law of what? Demand. So we have QD here. This is 600. This is 2 pj. Now, for the demand equation or for the demand function to satisfy the law of demand, we have to have an inverse relationship between quantity demanded of gassem and price of what? Gassem. So as we can see here, we have negative here. So the new demand function satisfies the law of demand. satisfies the law of demand, because there is an inverse relationship either inverse or negative. So an inverse relationship between quantity demanded of gasoline and price of gasoline. So that's what we were asked for the fourth part of the question. So with the fifth part, we were asked to calculate for the equilibrium price and quantity for gasoline. So I'll clean this side. Okay. So this is VIN, equilibrium price and quantity. Now, before we calculate for equilibrium price and quantity demanded should be equated to what quantity supply. So one would ask, are we going to use this? No. We use the new demand function. We will equate the new demand function to that of the supply function that was given in the question. So the new demand function was given. So we have QD, let's say called QS. This is the condition for equilibrium. So QD, we had 600 minus 2 PJ. QS was given in the question, minus 300 plus 8 PJ. So we group like them. This is 600. This is negative 300. When it corresponds positive 300, like this. This is 8 PJ. We move this plus 2 PJ. This will give me 10 PJ. This will give me 900. I want PJ. So this is 10 PJ. This is 900. So I'll divide both sides by the coefficient of PJ, which is 10, like this. So PJ will give me 90. So the equilibrium price is 90. Equilibrium price S. So the next one is equilibrium quantity. So with the equilibrium quantity, you can use either the demand function or the supply function, but most appropriately we use the supply function. Whether the supply or the demand, you are supposed to get the same quantity. So let me try both for us to confirm whether it's still correct. So supply, we're given minus 300 plus 8 PJ. So PJ, we got 90 from this side. So this is QX, this is minus 300 plus 8. PJ is 90. So minus 300 plus 8 times 90 will give you 420. So when you use the demand function, you are supposed to get the same 420. If you don't get it, then meaning you have a problem with your price. So you would have to come back to correct it. So this is what we were asked to solve for the VIN part of the question. There's the equilibrium price, 90. And the equilibrium quantity is 420. Okay. So that was the VIN part of the question. We were asked to calculate for the equilibrium price and quantity. So we now have equilibrium price to be 90. We have equilibrium quantity to be 420. So the next one, which is the VI, we were asked to, at the equilibrium price, Find the values of consumer and producer surplus. So let me write the full question. At the equilibrium price, find the consumer and producer surplus. Okay. So this is what the VI part of the question is asking us to solve. At the equilibrium price, find the consumer and producer surplus. So we start, we have this from this side. There's quantity, this is price, this is demand, this is supply. Where they are meeting is called the equilibrium point. This is equilibrium price, this is equilibrium quantity. So with the equilibrium quantity, we had 420. So this is 420. Equilibrium price, it was 90. So this is 90. Now, we are finding for consumer surplus and producer what surplus. So the side above the initial price, which is from 90 upwards. From 90 upwards, this side is called a consumer surplus. From the initial equilibrium price downwards, from this side downwards, that is what we call the producer surplus. So we first calculate for consumer surplus. So for us to calculate for consumer surplus, to make it simple, I'll just pick this one, the top one, the consumer surplus. Let me name this A, let me do this B, let me do this C. Now, for us to find consumer surplus, we know it's half times base times height. So we need a base. So the base is this one, 420. So if that side is 420, this side is also 420. So this side is 420. Now, we need a height. But here lies the case with the 90. It's in the middle. It's neither for consumer surplus or what? Producer surplus. So this is where the 90 is. So how then do we get a height? We are supposed to get a number here. A number here. So that when we subtract the 90 from that, of the number we are going to get for this side, we can get the height. So how then do we go about it? This is consumer surplus. We are supposed to pick the demand function. So the demand function was QD is equal to 600 minus 2 PJ. Now, for us to get the number on the side, which is the price column, we will make QD 0. So when QD is equal to 0, so this is 0, this is 600, this is 2 PJ. We are finding for PJ, we move it to the left hand side, becoming positive 2 PJ. This is 600. We want PJ, we divide both sides by the coefficient of PJ, which is 2. So this is 600. So PJ is equal to 300. So we can now find for the consumer surplus, which is half times base times height. So this is half. The base is the 420. This is 420. With the height, we now have two numbers. So the top here is 300 per what we calculated. So we have 300 minus 90. Like this. So we use the calculator. Half times 420 times 300 minus 90. Half times 420 times 300 minus 90. So we have this. Consumer surpluses 44100. So this is what we are getting for the consumer surplus. We use the same concept for the producer surplus as well. So we now have the consumer surplus. So the top is 300. So this is 300. You are left with the producer surplus. So I'll pick the same diagram here. But when you become so perfect with it, there's no need of you bring the diagram again. So I'll just pick this particular diagram to the side. So producer surplus. Okay. So we have this. So let me name it. This is A, B, this is C. Remember, the base was 420. So that side moves to the middle one. So 420. So that is 420. Now remember that we're not given height per the question. So the middle, this side was 90. So we need a number here as the same format so that when we subtract it from the 90, we can get the middle part. So we producer, we do with supply. We consumer, we do with demand. So I'll pick the supply function. So with the supply function, we're given QoS is equal to minus 300 plus 8 PG. Since we are finding for PG, which is the price column, we make QoS 0. So this is 0. This is minus 300 plus 8 PG. Since we are finding for PG is minus 300, we will move it to the left hand side, becoming positive 300. This is 8 PG. We divide both sides by the coefficient of PG, which is 8. So this is it. So 300 divided by 8, 37.5. We have 37.5. So we can now solve for the producer surplus. Producer surplus. This is half times base times height. So this is half. The base is 420. Now we know this side should be 37.5. So we can now find the height. This is 90 minus 37.5. So producer surplus. Half times 420 times 90 minus 37.5. I get 11025. So that's how we solve for the consumer surplus and that of the producer surplus. So consumer surplus is 44100. Producer surplus is 11025. So that is all for the VI part of the question. So we move to the VII. So with the VII, we were asked to estimate and explain the own price, cost price, and income elasticity. So estimate the own price, cost price, own price, cost price, and income elasticity. Okay, so we start with the own price first. So with the own price elasticity denoted by APX, proportionate change or percentage change in QoS or percentage change in PX. So that's how we expand it. We find derivative of QoS with respect to derivative of PX. We bring the PX here and divide by QX. Now, in the question, we were given what? Price of GASM. And we know with the own price, it always what the actual price in the question. So let's change the PX to PG since we were given price of GASM. Yes. So price of GASM in the question was given us. What we solved for, price of GASM, we got 90. Quantity was 420. So we have this. Now, with this particular side, find a derivative of QS with respect to the derivative of our pigeon. So the first thing we do is you would locate the demand function. This is the demand function. Once you locate the demand function, you will look for the variable beneath it, which is pigeon. This is pigeon. Once you get a pigeon, you pick the number attached to it, which is what? -2. So the whole of this side is -2. So we have this. This is -2. This is 90. This is 420. So -2 times 90 over 420 will give you -0.43. Now, since it's own price, with own price, whenever you get a negative number, we take an absolute value of it. The absolute value is to eliminate the negatives. So we have 0.43, which is less than 1. If it's less than 1, it's inelastic. If it's greater than 1, it's elastic. If it's equal to 1, then it's unity demand. So this is how we solve the own price part of the question. So you move to the next one, cost price. So cost price, elasticity. So we have E. Now in the question we were told that PA is price of other related cement, or PA is the price of other related products. Why are we saying that's the other related product? When you check the side, the quantity demanded was for gas M. So this was what the price of gas M. That was for what? The own price. But with the cost price, we deal with the price of the related product, which is what? PA. So with the cost price, this, let me do it this way. We have this. So percentage change in QS over percentage change in PA. So derivative of QS first derivative of PA. So this is PA over QS. So with that side to PA in the question, PA was given us, let me check it. Okay, so in the question, PA was given as 75. Our QS still remains the same thing, 420. So this is 75. This is 420. So with that side, we'll come and look for the QS equation. This is the demand equation. Look for the variable beneath it, which is PA. This is PA. We then pick the number attached to the PA, which is 2. So this side, we have 2 here. So 2 times 75 divided 420, 0.35. Or 0.36. So EP 0.36. Which cost price, if it's positive, it's a substitute good. If it's negative, then it's a complementary good. So it's positive, so it's a substitute good. So we move to the last one, income elasticity. Okay. So with the income elasticity too, in the question, we're given income as capital M. M was denoted as income. So we have this. Percentage change in QS over percentage change in income. we find derivative of QS with respect to derivative of income. So this is income divided by QS. So with income in the question, income was given us. Income was given as 4,000. So income is 4,000. QS is 420. So we have 4,000 here. It's in the question. It was given in the question. This is 420. This side too. We will come to the question. Look for M. This is M. You pick the number attached, which is what? 0.1. So this side is 0.1. This is 0.1. 0.1 times 4,000 divided by 420. 0.95. So the answer is 0.95. With income, if it's positive, it's a normal good. If it's negative, it's an inferior good. So this is positive. So it's a normal good. So this is all for the VII part of the question. So we move to the next part of the question. Okay. So the next part of the question, vein I. This is the next part of the question. Okay. At the equilibrium price, is the firm maximizing its revenue at the equilibrium price? So that's the next question. At the equilibrium price, is the firm maximizing what? Its revenue. Now, whenever you are asked this type of question, at the equilibrium price, is the firm maximizing its revenue? This is where we use the concept of total revenue test. Now, with a total revenue test too, for us to deal with the total revenue test, we use own price elasticity. Let me go over it again. At the equilibrium price, is the firm maximizing its revenue? With such questions, we use the total revenue test. But if you are using the total revenue test, for you to get the answers, we use or we base on the own price elasticity. So, if your own price elasticity, it's inelastic, then an increase in price would lead to an increase in total revenue. If your own price elasticity is elastic, then a decrease in price will lead to an increase in total revenue. So vice versa. So with inelastic, everything shoots up. An increase in price, an increase in total revenue. Or a decrease in price, a decrease in total revenue. With the elastic, a decrease in price, an increase in total revenue. Or an increase in price, a decrease in total revenue. So our answer we go for the own price elasticity would help us to know the one we are going to pick from this side. So our answer for the own price, we go inelastic. So we will pick the inelastic part of the total revenue test. So with the inelastic, is saying that an increase in price will lead to what? An increase in total revenue. So that is what we use for this particular question. So at the equilibrium price, is the firm maximizing its revenue? Yes. So at the equilibrium price, its revenue because it is inelastic, which means an increase in price will lead to an increase in total revenue. So that's how we answer the VIII part of the question. It's based on your own price elasticity. The answer you get is what you use in answering the VIII part of the question. So we move to the next one, which is the IX. So with the IX part of the question, we are saying that if the government imposes a price control of 75 cedis, so the price control is 75 cedis. If the government imposes a price control of 75 cedis, estimates the extent of surplus or shortage of this policy on GASEM's markets. So let me first give an overview of what we mean by price control. So with the price control, first we have price ceiling. Price ceiling is the same as maximum price control. Now, with this price ceiling or the maximum price control, the effect is shortage or black market or debt with loss. And the next one is price floor. With a price floor, is the same as minimum price control. With a minimum price control, its effect is surplus. Yes. So these are the two types of price control measures we use. Price ceiling is the same as maximum price control, and the effect of a price ceiling is shortage or black market or debt with loss. Then the price floor is the same as minimum price control, the effect is surplus. So let's bounce back to our question. If the government imposes a price control of 75 Ghana cedis, estimate the extent of surplus or shortage of this policy on GASEM's markets. So we have this. This is quantity. This is price. This is demand. This is supply. Where they are meeting is the equilibrium point, which is AP. This is the equilibrium quantity. The equilibrium quantity was 420. The equilibrium price was 90. Okay. So we are saying that if government is imposing a price control of 75 cedis, estimate the extent of surplus or shortage in GASEM's market. So we're given a price control of 75. Now we know with 75, we will check whether it's above 90 or it's below 90. And 75 we know it's below 90. So we bring it here. That's 75. You match it. This side, you move it down. This side, you move it down. So per the diagram, you could see that with a 75, it's touching the supply equation, and it's also touching that of the demand equation. So what we are going to do is if you want to know the extent of shortage or surplus in GASEM's market, we will pick the supply function where we see price of GASEM, we will fix 75 cedis. We will also pick that of the demand equation where we see price of GASEM, we fix 75 cedis. So I'm starting with this. So with the demand function, it was QD was 600 minus 2 PG. And with PG, we had, sorry, with PG now we are seeing a price control rate of 75. So this is 75. So this is QD. So this is 600 minus 2 times 75. So QD is equal to 600 minus 2 times 75. This is giving us 450. Let me clear this out. So we are done with the demand part. We pick the supply function. So the supply function to QS was minus 300 plus 8 PG. So the PG, the price ceiling amount, 75. So this is QX, this is minus 300 plus 8, this is 75. This is QX. Minus 300 plus 8 times 75 would give us 300. So now we have the demand functions amount, 450. We also have the supply functions amount, 300. But how then do we know whether it's a shortage or it's a surplus? If demand exceeds supply, there's a shortage. But if supply exceeds demand, then there's what? A surplus. So here lies the case, demand is greater than that of supply. So we have what? A shortage. So demand exceeds supply. So we have a shortage in GASEM's market. Yes. So demand is bigger than that of supply. So if demand exceeds supply, then there's a shortage. If supply exceeds demand, then there's what? A surplus. So now we know that per the question, we are going to experience what? A shortage. But we want to know the shortage amount. So what we do is, we have the shortage here. We subtract the supply from the demand. So this is demand, QD minus QS. So QD is 450 minus QS is 300. We are getting 150. So the 150 is the shortage amount. So per the question, we are experiencing shortage, but the amount of shortage is what? 150. So that's how we solve the demand estimation part of the question, which is the question 6.